Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here. Just got back from the mighty Minneapolis of Marnie, Iowa, home of Baxter Cycle, and look what I'm riding now. I drove there on my Himalayan, my red Himalayan, and it's rain, muck. It was a pouring rain when I left here. I have my Cardinal jacket on just for that reason, my beautiful Royal Enfield Cardinal jacket. But anyway, we picked up this hot rod. This is a Royal Enfield Himalayan Scram 411 right there, and it's in this beautiful red and white. Just a gorgeous bike. Has this absolutely lovely Zard pipe on it. It's got the same 411 cc single overhead cam, 2-valve, air-cooled, oil-cooled engine, 5-speed transmission, same as the normal Himalayan does. The brake on the front, I believe, is a 320mm rotor with ABS, 2-pot Vibri. The back is a 240mm with a single-pot Vibri. It's a monoshock that's linked. There's the link. You can raise or lower the bike by changing the links. Like I said, this one has a Zard pipe on it. Real pretty motorcycle, isn't it? Real good looking bike. This is supposed to be more of an urban assault. You know, it's got a lot lighter handling than my Himalayan does. And I could really tell that driving. I drove it around town when I got home here. Drove it 4 or 5 miles around my little town here, little A-town, and it definitely is a lot more nimble, I would say. It's got less than 58 inches of wheelbase, just slightly less than that. The standard Himalayan is 58. It also has about 200mm of ground clearance, and I think that's 7.9 inches or something like that. 180mm of fork travel, same 41mm forks. Everything in the back is the same. The tire, everything's back. The play on the back is, I think that's about 180mm too. What did I say? That was 7.1? 7.1, let's say. It's just starting to sprinkle. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. But I really like the way the bike looks. Got the bash guard underneath it. So the big difference here is it doesn't have the headlight on the standard Himalayan is always pointing the same way the body is, and the gauge cluster and headlight are not part of the fork system. On this bike it is. This is actually a cast aluminum piece, by the way. That's really amazing because they could have did that in plastic, but they didn't. Jumping up here, by the way, I love the paint. Just love the paint. The red, the white, the black, you know, these little covers here. I just love the whole thing. So jumping up here, they have bar risers on this one. Check it out. That's interesting. Okay. Well, I was going to tell you all that the mirrors on this felt like they're in a really much better spot than they were on my Himalayan. I wonder if that's part of the reason why. So now you can see the water on here. Flash to pass button here, high lows, blinkers, horn down here. There is no UBS connector here, USB connector. Kill switch, hazard lights, start button. Jumping up here, it's got the single gauge with the analog exterior. The fuel gauge is LED right here in the top. It's got an always showing clock and always showing gear indicator. And then it's got trip A, B, and C right there. I'm sorry, trip. It's got odometer, trip A, and trip B. And that's controlled with this button here. So check that out. So that says trip B right now. Odometer right there, trip A, and back to trip B. And then it looks like a battery light, so you always know if your alternator's going right, which is a good thing to have. And ABS light, engine light, probably a neutral light in there somewhere. And on this side is the tripper navigation system. That is a really nifty thing. I've used it a few times. It always seems to work, but you have to download the Royal Enfield app to make it work. And the app actually works pretty good. Something I did find right away was the seat. Now I've got the raised seat concept seat on my bike. And this has got the standard seat on it. And when I sat on it, what I found was I tried to edge myself forward, and that was really not that comfortable. It kind of jammed me up in the bike. So I scooted myself back as far as I could. And it was actually pretty comfortable. We'll see how that goes over the next couple days. But isn't that just a good looking machine? Just everything is, I love the different fender. Even though this is not raised, I always say you should raise your Himalayan fender. There's a lot of room under here. I mean, look at that. Get your hand, you can see the dirt from the mud, from the rainwater on the roads. Spoked wheels, tubeless tires, probably Seat tires. Yeah, Seat right there. Chain drive, of course. Another difference between this and my Himalayan is it's got the standard Himalayan has a 2-part seat. This has got a single seat. With this pipe, somebody's going to ask, can you put the bags on? I don't know the answer to that. I would guess you could put a bag on this side. I don't know if I'd want one on this side because of the heat, but I'm sure somebody out there could figure it out. It is a very nice pipe, by the way. Well, anyway, we're going to have some fun on that thing over the next few days. I've got a 50-mile run planned for tomorrow. I'm sorry, 100-mile run, 150-mile run actually, for tomorrow, and then I've got something planned for the day after that. It's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a hoot. I'll compare this to my standard Himalayan. I'll also compare it to my classic 350. Anyway, should be fun. Anyway, if you're interested in something like this, or if you need accessories or apparel or anything like that for your Himalayan or other Royal Enfield or Triumph or anything like that, you could go to baxtercycle.com or go to the mighty minitropolis of Marnie, Iowa, and visit baxtercycle.com. They've got it all there. Now, if the weather is nice where you're at, I say that with rain pouring on me. If the weather's nice where you're at, get yourselves out there and ride. I'm actually going to try to figure out if I can go out later again. Life is good. Wahoo.